Hi, hello, and welcome again to another episode of Natural Juan. And tonight, we're going to have our very first unscripted episode. Yep, you heard that right. There's no scripts for this particular video. Anyway, in this one, I'm supposed to demonstrate on how to create a character in Ironclaw. You see, a lot of people get confused on how exactly it's done because most people are used to stuff like Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder, and they don't exactly understand how the Cardinal system works. So, the Cardinal system, yeah, it is very different from the D20 system that most role players are familiar with, but it's not really that hard to learn. Anyway, though, in this video, I'm going to teach you how to make a character. And while I will touch a little bit about how the cardinal system works, it'll be just the basic. There will be another two videos after this. One that details how you use your skills to overcome challenges, and the next one after that is combat. This one is just character creation. So yeah, we're just going to do character creation tonight. Anyway, this is a blank character sheet. This is actually based on the character sheet found in the Ironclaw Omnibus, but this one is something I designed myself because it's easier for me, and with the larger letters, I guess it might be easier for people to follow. So, without further ado, let's get started with Ironclaw character creation. So yeah, I got 3 books open here: the Ironclaw Omnibus, and the Book of Jade, and the Book of Fools. Now there's a reason why I have these open, which you will learn a little bit later. So now let's go on with the main omnibus first, and I'll teach you how it is to create a character. So first we need to come up with a concept. With that, and going with that, we're going to come up with the starting traits. These are like your basic abilities in Dungeons and Dragons. So we have body, mind, speed, will, species, and career. And we get the starting dice, which are... Wait, let me show you. This is the D8, the 8-sided dice. You get 2 of these. You get 3 of the 6-sided dice, the numbers that are 1 to 6 that we are all familiar with. And 1 D4. The D4 serves as your weakness, and the D8 serves as your strength, because with the D4, it's mostly, since the game follows a rule of 4 kind of thing, it means that when you use the D4, you've only got a 25% chance to succeed, which is different from a D6, since this is 50%, and a D8, which is... sorry, I don't do that much math, but with a D8 you're less likely to get 3 and below, if you get what I mean. Okay, so the best way to start is figuring out what are your character's strengths and weaknesses. So once you've chosen where your character is strong at, you then choose where they are weak at, then the rest is average. Now, let me demonstrate. So my concept for my character is the shell-shocked veteran, as in he used to be a crusader, and now he plans on, starting over in Triskelion. That is Ironclaw's version of Renaissance Rome. So he just got home from the Crusades and wants to start his life over. So let's see. So he used to be a great soldier, so yeah, he will get very high. His strengths are his body and his speed. Like, he's very strong. He's very good with swords. He's also pretty good with a bow. He's a good range fighter, so he's also got a lot of dexterity. That adds up to speed. Then we choose a weakness. Since he's trying to leave behind his life as a soldier, as a crusader, he's probably going to choose a job that's not very combat-oriented. But whatever this job is, he's still starting it, so he's probably not very good at it. So he will have a D4 in career. Everything else averages out. His species is D6. His mind is D6. and his will is d6. Oops, sorry, clumsy fingers. Okay, now let's move on with the next part, and that is selecting a species for your character. So yeah, anyway, speaking of species, see these characters here, that's a comparison. Since this character here put the d8 in their species, you can see they're more animalistic. They're more like the savage warrior. But this guy, I guess he has a d4 in his species dice, so he looks more human. So yeah, anyway, for species, this is the kind of animal your character is supposed to be. So I already have this plan. So my character is going to be a spider. So yeah, let's go to page 15 where the spider is. There you go. It says here that most spiders tend to be female, but I want mine to be male. So yeah, you just need to write this down here. Let me go one by one with this one so you guys can understand. So habitat. Now habitat is like your character's home territory, and as it is with that kind of thing, he's got home court advantage in it. Whenever your character is in the habitat that goes with his species, he gets a bonus dice. So his species dice is d6. So whenever he's standing on plains, he gets a d6 to whatever he's doing. So like if he's forced to fight on the plains, I guess he gets a d6. Okay. Now, next we have diet, carnivore. This means that my character, he only gains sustenance from meat. See, this game is different. It doesn't have a hit point system, but it does have a way to measure damage. And whenever my character eats meat, that damage is reduced. Also, I need to tell you that in this game, you don't have traditional animals. You actually have dinosaurs. So they're the ones that replace the traditional animals like cows and dogs and pigs, because all those animals are people in this game. So okay, now we got his diet down. Yeah, he's a carnivore. Then cycle is day. This means that my character's gifts, mostly his species gifts, refresh during the day. And a good example is, since he's a spider, although I'm going to write this down later, since he's a spider, he's got venom. And once he uses his venom, it won't be ready again until the very next day. So that's what this cycle represents. That's when his gifts refresh. So that's day. Next is senses. So he gets a bonus for smell and spot. When your character is making an observation or search skill roll, he gets a bonus d6 when he's using his sense of smell and his spot sense, his sense of sight. Okay, we got that down. Next up, besides senses, we have weapons. These are your character's natural weapons. See, take your wolf, for example. Even if a wolf doesn't have his sword, he can still use his teeth and claws. The same with a panther or a tiger. Since our character is a spider here, he's got claws, teeth, and wrestle as his weapons. I'll be discussing this more when we get to the part about combat. Okay. Now for our next part, we've got the skill set. So he has climbing, craft, and stealth in terms of species skill. So yeah. So here he's got climbing. He gets a d6 there. Craft is also d6. And stealth is also d6. There we go. Now, let's move on to gifts. He's got species gifts. So, yeah. Extra 2 hands. This means he can have he has an extra set of hands to help him. Yeah, he's a spider, so that comes with the territory, I guess. Prehensile feet. This means he can also use his feet like hands. So he can hold weapons in them too if he wants to. And finally, venom. When you use venom, it adds sick. Whenever he hurts a character with one of his natural weapons, he can make them sick as well. That's how venom works. Okay, so we have prehensile hands that lets him hold stuff with his feet. Extra 2 hands of venom. Oh yeah, I need to add. He might have extra hands, just like his hands and feet here, but if they're not his good hand, he can't use them properly. He has to take a penalty, an offhand penalty. That's like a D8 against his attack or whatever skill roll he's making, because they're not his good hands. Okay, so we got species down to a T now. Now, let's move on with his career. I want this character to be a clown because he's going to start over. Or that's what he wants to do anyway. He wants to start over from being a warrior. So let's go with career. Let's see what it says there on his career, what his skills are. Dodge, jumping, and presence. Okay, so yeah, he's better at dodging attacks. Oh, wait. Let's align this properly. Don't want to make a mistake. Here we go. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, D4. We put a D4 here in his dodge. Jumping, how high he can jump. We put a D4 there too. And finally, we put, what's that? Presence, yeah. Presence is what lets your character make a big impression on others. It can be used for intimidation or just trying to get other people's attention. He's a clown. He should stand out like a sore thumb, I guess. Okay, so he's got those down now. Now that we have selected a species and a career for him, we're going to move on with his personality. What kind of person is our character? So he's a... Oh wait, before I forget, we have... Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, his gifts. His gifts are coward, fool's trappings, and foolery. So, in this game, being a coward is actually a gift. See, when you have the coward gift, you can make your character afraid. This means that instead you can make your character afraid on command. And being afraid has its benefits. You can move a lot faster. Or at least the characters with the coward gift, they can move a lot faster if they're afraid. Like they get bonuses to both their stride and their dash. And they become better at dodging as well. So it's harder to hurt them when they're scared. Another thing I'm going to tell you is that in this game, the fools are actually your tank characters. I'm not kidding about that. See, because they're really good at dodging stuff, they also, see, there's a gift here that says foolery. This allows them to taunt enemies, like make enemies come after them instead of their allies. And one more thing is, because they have this coward gift, it's harder to hit them. They might not be able to attack that much when they're afraid, because that's the problem with being afraid, they can't attack. But it becomes very hard for them to get hit. So it makes them ideal tanks of a sort. Okay, so now that we got that fool's trappings, these are the stuff that comes with being a clown. So yeah, let's see what the other stuff here he has. He has cloth armor, a marote, a motley outfit, and random items. So let's put them down here. Cloth armor, marote, motley outfit, and juggling balls. So this is his gear. These are his fool's trappings. Okay, let's go back to the rest of that. Yeah, I was talking about choosing a personality for your character. And these are the available personalities he can have. But since I already have an idea for this character, I will choose him to be pragmatic. He's a pragmatic character. He's the type that, yeah, this is actually a gift, you know. If he's going to decide something like, or like when he's forced into a situation, he takes the most logical way out, even if it doesn't seem very nice. So yeah, he gets a plus 12, plus d12 dice to doing that. I'll demonstrate that too when we get to the combat and the skill challenge parts. Okay, we've got his personality down. Now, starting knowledge. Since the character is a veteran of the Crusades, he probably doesn't have much. So we can say that he's originally from Acoma. This is the, what do you call it? This is the counterpart of Africa and the Middle East in the Ironclaw world. So next, after local knowledge, now we have 13 skill marks to work with. This is where you get to choose what kind of skills your character has. So he's a warrior, or at least formerly a warrior, so he doesn't have much skill in anything else. So we'll put, oh, and one more thing I'll have to remind you guys of is that when it comes to marking up skills, 1 is equal to d4, 2 is equal to d6, 3 is equal to d8, 4 is equal to d10, and 5 is equal to d12. And as you go on, like you get six skill ranks, it becomes d12 and d4. It becomes 7, the d4 turns into a d6, until so on. Until you get to like 11, where you have 2 d12 and 1 d4. Okay. Now, let's give him a skill mark, since he's, like I said, he's a soldier. So he gets 2 in brawling, he gets another 2 in melee combat, he gets another 2 in range combat, he gets 3 in stealth, and he gets 2 in throwing. Remember, in this game, or at least usually, you can only have up to 3 skill marks. You can't go beyond that yet because he's just a starting character. Okay, so this is a d6. He's a good brawler. Another d6. Another d6 because it's 2. And finally a d8 here, and a d6 in throwing. Okay, now it's time to select gifts for your character, and as a starting character you get to choose 3. So what I'm going to choose for my character is veteran. See, there's a rule in this game about aiming and guarding. Usually, when you aim or you guard, you get a plus d8. With aim, you get a plus d8 to attack, and with guard, you get a plus d8 to defense. But if you have the veteran gift, you instead have a d12 to aim and guard. See? Next is resolve. So this means that he can also use his will as a soak dice. See, this game doesn't work, like I said, it doesn't work like D20. So when he gets hit, most characters usually use their body dice to resist damage. But since he has the gift of resolve, this character can now also resist damage with his will dice. And last is danger sense. He has a nose for danger. This gives him a bonus d12 to initiative, and it also lets him prepare for potential dangerous situations. Like he knows if he's walking into danger or something. Okay, we got that down now. We already chose our gifts. Now it's time to choose a name. I already have a name for this character. I want to call him Jacques. So he is Jacques, the spider clown. So now choose a motto. See, this is what, most games like Dungeons and Dragons and the Palladium games, they have what they call character alignment. Not so in Ironclaw. It's very different here. You have to choose a motto to decide what makes your character what he or she is. So this is just part of his or her character alignment. So with our character, his motto will be, since he's like a grizzled and exhausted veteran, it's going to be live and let live. So he's essentially the type of character that if he doesn't need to kill a particular person, he's not going to do it. And remember, this motto part is very important because whenever you do this, you get an experience point. So if, for example, if he has captured an enemy and he can actually kill that enemy, if he lets them live instead and make them live with their consequences, he gets an experience point for that. Next, you give him 3 starting goals. This is very important actually, because this also adds to his experience. So 1, survive. So whenever he survives combat, he gets an experience point. Number 2, find redemption from his experiences as a crusader. And third is find peace. No, he's a combat veteran with PTSD like Rambo. Okay, now that we got those, choose our equipment. So yeah, we can choose extra equipment. We get 8 stone free of cheap and average equipment, and we also get money in the form of denarii equal to the maximum we can roll on our career dice. Oh yeah, speaking of money here is measured in copper, silver, and gold. Denarii is the silver, and that's the standard. But copper is 1/12 of a denar. This means that you need 12 pieces of copper, called orichalks in this game, to form 1 denar. Then you have aureoles, which are worth 24 denarii each, or 24 silver coins each. These are your gold coins, and usually only kings and nobles get to see these things. So my character's career dice is 4, so he starts with 4 silver coins. Okay. Now let's choose some equipment for him. Let's go down to the equipment section. See what's available. So yeah, he's a warrior, so he's probably got some leftover stuff from being a soldier. So yeah, 1/8 stone. So he'll have a knife. Where is our luggage section? There we go. He's going to have a knife. a hatchet, and a sling. These are relatively cheap weapons, so okay. Next is battle array. Yeah, we just need to finish up with character creation. So let's start with initiative. Initiative is your speed dice and your mind dice, but since he also has the danger sense gift, he gets a free d12 in that too. So it's d12, d8, and finally d6. As for stride, this is actually very useful because in combat there's what they call the pressing and retreating rule. I'll detail more of that during the combat demo. So, but yeah, usually characters only get one stride unless they have a gift that allows them. Like fast mover, they get more than one stride. Or your character happens to be a snake, he gets more than one stride. As for dash, dash is half of your maximum speed dice, so it's d8, so he'll have a 4. Sprint is just your character's speed dice, so that's d8. As for run, this is adding your body, speed, and dash together, so that is 16. You get 16 here and plus 4, so he can run for 20 paces. And yeah, that's the thing about this game. Its measuring system is very different. Everything is in fractions. As you can already see with the money, everything is in fractions. When it comes to distance, you have paces. When it comes to distance, like in Dungeons and Dragons, you get 5 feet per square. When you go to Shadowrun, you get 1 meter per square. In this game, you get 1 pace per square. There's also their height and weight system. When it comes to height, your character is measured in hands, and it comes to weight, your character is measured in stones, which is 14. Each stone weighs 14 pounds. So wait, let's make sure that we're not missing anything first, okay? So we have run. Yeah, we also have our attack dice and defense dice. Okay, well, we can just go back to our character's appearance later. Let's finish up first. So yeah, he has a hatchet and a knife. So hatchet. So he can throw a hatchet actually. So the ranged version of his hatchet is... When it comes to throwing, I need to tell you. Throwing, you add body, speed, and the throwing dice. So basically, we have 2d8 because of body and speed, and a d6 from his throwing skill versus defense. Let's make sure we know what we're doing. Let's look at that. Let's go back to the item lists. Yeah, so the hatchet does +1 damage, can be thrown, like I said. So yeah, so damage +1. The knife, or let's go with the sling first because it's a ranged weapon. So it's ranged. Oh yeah, another thing I forgot to tell you. Throwing items are only short range, and that is equal to 13 paces, while some weapons, like this sling here, let me show you. Sling is medium range, that is upwards of 24 or 36. That's upwards of 36 paces, or was it 24 paces? We'll look at that again next time, maybe in the combat section. So as for range combat, it's speed dice and their range attack dice. So it's just D8 and D6 versus defense. And the damage, the effect damage is +0. Just because it says +0 doesn't mean it does 0 damage, okay? Because the successes that are counted, they will be the main, they will also be counted as damage. So if this lands as a 7, this lands as a 5, and the enemy gets like a 4, it'll be like 2 damage already. And you can, and with the aim mechanic, it can be up to 3. Okay, sling. Now let's move on with this melee capability. So hatchet is close, so melee attack. So it's D8 and D6 versus defense. That's another damage +1. Next is his knife, which is another close range weapon. It's another D8 and D6 versus defense, and damage +1. Okay, so for his defenses, like there's counter attack. This is like hitting the enemy first before they hit you. Let's say he uses his knife for that. So it's D8 and D6. Parry, that's blocking with your weapon. But it's pretty much the same thing, so it's D8 and D6. It's just that he won't be causing damage with it or anything like that. As for dodge, his ability to avoid damage, it's already got a D4 and he's got a speed of D8, so that gives him D8 and D4 to dodge. As for his armor, he's wearing cloth armor, remember that? Type in knife here first. So he's wearing cloth armor, and it only gives him D4 protection, in addition to his soak dice, which are, because his will dice is included, D8 and D6. D8, D6. Let's see what else. We've got, okay, great axe, 3, 4, okay. Let's go back. So the battle array. Now that we've given him money, armor, now it's time to finish, put finishing touches to the character. You've got all this down now, so don't worry. Yeah, we'll just put here. It seems a little redundant actually, but at least you can see it here. So he's got D8 and D6 soak dice, and he's got D4 armor dice. Now, let's finish up. So he's a grizzled veteran, so he'll be 42. He's going to be male. So he's kind of a big guy, so he'll be 9.8 hands tall. And weight, since every stone is worth 14 pounds, he's going to be 14.3 stones. His eyes are yellow, giving him a slight creep factor. His pelt will be gray, and his distinguishing characteristics are his scarred head. And there you go. We have Jacques the Spider Clown, our character. And now that character creation is over, our next episode will be about skill challenges. Oh yeah, I forgot to say it at the beginning of the video. Please check out the episode 8, which details an introduction to Ironclaw. So you at least know where this all started. Okay, that's pretty much it.